Good man with a T them.
T them. What the fuck was that, blood? T them.
Yeah, that was off. That was off. Anyways, welcome back to the. I'm not fucking hell.
Hey, man had that big energy coming through. And you know,
Oh shit!
listen.
Bro, I dove with my belly,
This
bro.
when you go big, bro, it's a greater chance you gonna fuck up big.
I'm moving a lot of black people here. We take the property value all the way fucking down.
You been one fucking stuff.
You know,
Nigga.
it's not really worth the energy.
Yeah.
I don't it's a very vain.
We are
Peasants. Yeah, that's how I feel when I get on. It feel like every time I get on.
Hey, mamacita, muy bonito. Baby, I got it. Like Mama Africa, you just way too bad. You the top, make a man go mad. You just way too bad. You the top, make a man wanna spend that bag. Bounce that ass. Got me so in love with you right now.
Because they were
Getting
recording.
you on fire. Got a nigga singing like la 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 la. Let that shit go. Ask like that you gotta let that shit go.
48 laws of power.
We're going to focus more on fashion, but we're going to talk about the emergence of small clothing brands.
So the
Because-
business of fashion.
The business of fashion, yeah. You see the emergence of so many different clothing brands, something that wouldn't have been possible or was impossible 10 years ago. Oh, it was probably possible, but nobody thought to do it.
Ease of business. No.
You think that is one of the things?
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, like, the business of, especially, like, you know, clothing has evolved, and there are a lot of disruptors coming into the space. So, you know, normally let's say, for example, of course, you have the big brands. They have their yearly fashion show and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. Like they have like a template and a routine that they go
exactly.
with. Exactly. Yeah.
And the problem with that is that being so established, they cater to a particular market, and the average person is not catered for. You know what I mean? How many of the clothes you see, like, I'm gonna have to say that again. How many of like the outfits that you see on, I don't know, let's say a Paris Fashion Week or New York Fashion Week?
Yeah.
How many of those outfits do you actually see translating to like just everyday wear for somebody? I mean, like for an average person, let me put it like that way.
Yeah, you don't see so much of that.
You know what I mean? So a lot of that don't really transition from them kind of places to the average person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you find like, or this is my opinion, like I don't have no data for this shit, and like I'm not gonna make it sound like my word is law. Normally is, but
This nigga.
you know what I mean? So you find like there are brands that are catering to people,
Okay.
mostly niche brands, and they start out, a lot of them start out as niche brands.
Okay.
But once you gain a following, and this is the difference with like what you could have done 10 years ago as opposed to what you can do today.
Yep.
You can gauge the growth of your business in real time. On Instagram, on Facebook, you know, with Facebook marketing, you are getting all these numbers
And Google.
in real time.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
10 years ago, you had to, I don't know, like just look at your books more or less, how much you're selling, and then, you know, guess. You couldn't really have like a specific, it's so crazy. You can almost come down to a number today, regardless of how big your business is or small, and you can adjust your strategy as per the growth of your business and the reach of your audience.
I'm thinking about what you said earlier about the ease of doing business. I understood that, but for the regular viewer, could you explain just a little bit more what that means?
But I mean, all right, ease of business is that a lot of things have been streamlined now for the digital age.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You could start a company, depending on what country you're in, but in most countries, there is a push by governments because they realize the potential of the internet and, you know, the fact that what might, in a traditional sense, not seem like a viable business, yeah, could actually be that. And so everybody gets a chance to start a business. You know, 20 years ago, you had to go to a bank with a business plan. You had to sit down and talk to an accountant. You had to, all of these things. And you can get all of these things online now without even actually like moving from your couch. You could have like, you know, bookkeeping program, you go online, boom. This is it.
They got book here
Yeah.
and side programs.
You have a bookkeeping program, you want to start a company, you no longer have to go to the tax office, stand in line.
Yeah.
Because even that was like, it sounds weird, but for a lot of people that was a deterrent.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the time to take off from work today to go and stand in line and hope that I get whatever, like, you know, I might have an hour or two off from work that I lied that I was going to the doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, like, when that 2 hours is about to run out, you're like number 5 in line, and you're like, do I take the chance and stay here and go back? Then my boss is pissed off. You know what I mean? So that was a deterrent. Having to physically be in a particular place was a deterrent for a lot of people. And nowadays, like, this evening I can go home and like in 10 minutes I have my own new company. I go online, register my shit with the tax people online, verify that it's me. You know what I mean? So ease of business, like there's so many more things that are more compatible to the digital age that, and then you look at this now where everything is online. I mean, there are businesses that don't have a physical location.
Yeah. So the advent of companies like Shopify,
Exactly.
Amazon, and
You have a store, but you don't have a store.
yeah, like you don't have a physical one, but you
No,
do have
yeah.
one that is internet based that you still gotta pay rent in court. It's
Yeah.
not the same. It doesn't run up the numbers like that, but
No,
you
but
still gotta take care
this
of
is
that.
how crazy it is. It is to the point where that you have a store, but you have no physical inventory. Take like Printful, for example. You know, this is my store on Shopify. Somebody goes in there, orders some shit on my store. That order goes not to me, it goes to Printful, no? Printful
Definitely.
fulfills the order, sends it to the customer. I never touch the product. He's a business man.
I'm with
You
you.
know-
So we have the private players like the companies, right? The Shopify's and
Off-label brands and stuff like that.
and then we have the ease of business that's been created by the government.
The government and other like players in the what would you call it, the white label sector, where like
Which-
Printful will never put their brand on your clothing, like
No.
even if you are doing drop shipping via Printful, or I'm not making an ad for Printful, but like other that other companies that do the same thing.
Yeah.
These are white label. They are the ones that do the actual production, sourcing, and the keeping of inventory.
Yeah, the actual packaging of
Exactly.
the final product.
But when the product is sent out, it's your designs, it's your stipulations as to what the product should be.
Yeah.
You know,
It's your
and
marketing tool
exactly
to
all
get
of
it to
these
the right
things.
hand.
So that goes out from them, but nobody knows. Like for all they know, you were sitting at home doing this thing by hand. You drew on the shirt. You know what I
That's
mean?
facts. That is
So-
facts. Do you think the social climate has also played like a big role in the emergence of all these new businesses? Because it's gotta be something too, coming to how we structured our societies in this time and age.
Of course.
Because entrepreneurship, like historically, like we've had like some great entrepreneurs back in the day, but it wasn't something that was just common knowledge. It's just anybody could do, you know.
I think like at this, and I run the risk of making a mistake and being wrong here, but I think at no other point in human existence we've had so many entrepreneurs. I think this present age, day and age, is the most entrepreneurs that have ever existed at one time.
Yeah.
In the entire fucking history of humanity.
So it's just like a build up from back in the day, because they had some crazy entrepreneurs back in the days.
Yeah, I don't
Who
think
really shifted the needle. They did back in the industrial age. I'm pretty sure a lot of people had to
Of
step
course,
in and just
you
do
had
it.
you had people capitalizing on, and this is like the second wave. This is the technological age. So it's the second wave, so to speak.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? But I would say like, I think one of the things that's driving entrepreneurship is, for want of a better word, people realize that they're getting fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
People realize that the game is rigged, and this is me running the risk of sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but people are realizing like my 9 to 5, or put it this way, there's research done in the US, yeah, where they look at the incomes of people from the 60s and 70s and what they could accomplish with the income that they had then, compared to people in similar positions today and what they can do with that income. And basically, the people who were in the 60s and 70s are doing better. There is nobody doing doing a similar job, yeah, and making what would be the equivalent of that. They don't even make the equivalent of that, what they were making in the 70s, translated to today's dollars.
Okay.
Which means that people in the 60s and 70s, if you look at it, a lot of boomers,
Yeah, that's baby boomers. Yeah.
hey boomer, you know, but a lot of boomers own their own houses.
Yeah. They own their own.
There is a study that basically looked at all of these things, and they've concluded, and a lot of comedians make jokes about this and whatever not, you know, like Gen Z people, they'll never own a fucking house. And like, you know, people have been writing Gen Z people, like older people be like, oh, you and your fancy, you know,
Older people,
pumpkin,
bro.
yeah, pumpkin
Bro.
lattes. No, they tease them. They're like, work harder. You want a house, work harder. You want this, work harder. Drink your pumpkin lattes and have your little avocado shakes. And whatever, you know what I mean?
Some pumpkin
That's-
spice lattes from,
yeah, you
from
know what I mean?
Starbucks.
Exactly, and they're like, and people make it like, the boomers simplify it and make it sound like, oh, it's because you're not working hard and you're doing all these like fancy things why you can't afford.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that incomes have stagnated.
Yes.
Yeah? And so what do people start doing? You have a particular dream for your life. You want to be comfortable when you get to a certain age. So what you start looking at, like, all right, this job ain't never, no matter how much I save from this money,
It ain't never gonna take me
it's
there.
never going to take me there. And then you start looking at alternative streams of income. And like one of the things is that like having an online business can be a source of passive income. For example, which is why drop shipping is so big. You know, for a lot of people, it's just like I set it and forget it. Drop shipping doesn't require that you're constantly monitoring
yeah.
what's going on and that kind of stuff.
No.
You can go and check it like once a week or whatever, you know? And so a lot of people are taking that route. And even people who didn't think that they would start to, you know, just trying to make money by alternate means. And that's why, regardless of whether or not one will consider themselves an entrepreneur, once you start dabbling in online business, you are an entrepreneur.
Can we stop there?
Recording.
You go ask.
Should I ask? So basically what you're saying is that we have more independent brands because it's easier to start a business, it's easier to reach the crowd through social media, and it's easier because you don't need to have a physical store.
Exactly.
You can do it basically just online.
Yes.
But what do you think is the reason why they get the customers? Why are people leaning more towards the independent brands instead of going for the more,
Legacy brands.
yeah?
I mean, people are doing that because everybody wants to feel unique. Yeah? Everybody wants a sense of belonging.
Are we talking about individuality right now?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, it's playing into individuality. Because, like, all right, I'll take myself as an example. And, I mean, I don't want to get too anecdotal, but, like, I don't want to wear something that I will pass 10 people on the street in. You feel me? I want to wear something where everybody's going to be like, where'd you get that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people have that. And moreover, like, it's not like finding a brand that you're like, they make fly shit. And see it like blow up like 2-3 years later and everybody's like, yo, take Trapstar, for example. You know what I mean? When Trapstar just started out, and this is not an ad for Trapstar, and if this ever feels like Trapstar, I need that money. Anyways,
You heard the man.
yeah, pay me. But you know, like when Trapstar started out, yeah, Trapstar wasn't no big brand.
No.
You know what I mean? But it blew up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people could say like, well, not a lot of people, but there's people that could definitely like, yo, I was rocking like Trapstar before.
It was Trapstar.
Exactly. And a lot of people like that. They like to know that they've grown with the brand, or they've been there to see the brand come from nothing
To where it is.
to where it is. And then like that gives them a sense of belonging. You know what I mean? It is more personal for them. And so you find like people find brands that are not popular, and if they make nice shit, because this is where you need to separate now the wheat from the chaff, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean that anybody could wake up tomorrow morning and start doing some, I'm not saying that you can't, but then you have to make sure that you're focused on quality.
It's
You feel
all
me?
that's what it's all about.
That's what's going to be the difference.
Yeah.
You have quality, you have unique designs, and you play on all the little things that you need to be your customer's friend. You know, you have good customer service, you are prompt with your delivery, you keep your word to your customer. Yeah? And that makes a big difference. And so a lot of you like small brands, unique brands with their own take on fashion and their own take on what would look nice. They will find their audience, but the ones that actually become successful and grow are the ones that keep their audience.
Yep. And with being consistent.
Exactly.
With producing quality, with communicating, with your messaging, with
Exactly.
every little
engagement,
aspect.
because nowadays social media engagement is very important. You know, so you maintain that engagement. You make your customer feel like they know what's going on. You keep them in the loop, and they feel like you are catering to their needs. So you make like, let's say you put out an ad, an Instagram ad. You know,
Yep.
people see this nice ad that's made on Instagram. Yeah, and you boost the reel or whatever it is, you boost it, and you know, wide range of people get to see it. Yeah, but sometimes, because you know, like Instagram does this thing where it's like accounts that you've reached and those that follow you.
Yep.
So you can see the difference between like new accounts and people who follow you and stuff like that. So let's say like you reach 2,000 new accounts, yeah, but not all 2,000 follow you. Let's say you have, apart from the 2,000 new accounts, you have 500 that really follow you. They will get a different experience if they follow you. Let's say you post a behind the scenes thing. You don't really boost the behind the scenes. You just like, you know, just
I'm gonna just
people.
bring you guys along.
You know what I
right?
mean?
Just watch the
And
process.
so these people feel a different sense of connection to you because they will see both the ad and the behind the scenes stuff, you know? And then be like, oh shit, that's how they did that. And it creates a different kind of engagement.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Go. No, go ahead.
So basically what you say is that it's the uniqueness and the individuality, but also a way to express yourself with the context.
Yeah, of course.
Can you connect, because before when we talked about the entrepreneurs, we talked about the social climate we have. Can this also be connected to that?
Yes and no. I mean, I'll probably go to the no first. Like, as with every business venture, the aim at the end of the day is to make money. Yeah, and you don't need the social climate to affect the instinct to want to make money. You know what I mean? So people will always try to make money. That's just how it is. But then I'll go to the yes, and I'll say like a lot of brands nowadays, smaller brands, they have a message. It's not just like, I'm doing this to make money. There is a message. There's brands that are actively engaged in, you know, conservation efforts. There are brands that give back a portion of their profits to certain groups of people. that they feel are misrepresented or underrepresented or marginalized, you know. There's brands that focus on, you know, like doing stuff for kids or whatever not. So everybody has their little niche, and a lot of the times that is reflected in the clothing or whatever business for that matter. It's not just clothing, but you know, that's one of those ways that it is easily expressed and, you know, reach a larger audience.
Yeah.
Because for every t-shirt, let's say for example Zanzi, every Zanzi t-shirt somebody wears, you don't know, 10, 15, 20 people, they will go past this person in a day. So if you put something meaningful on that shirt, you know, 10, 20 people will see that, they'll connect to that, and then it might draw them to, you know, to the website, and then they're like, oh, well, this guy's about like helping other people to do the same thing. All right, cool. You know?
Yeah.
And then there's a certain amount of engagement, and then it's like, for some reason, they might just, I don't know, because the way the algorithm works nowadays, so after you visited the website, you jump on YouTube, boom, there's Zanzi Cast. And you're like, this is what those two guys look like. It's like, shit. And it's like, then you start interacting in a totally different way. It's just that you just get pulled into the circle, and it's like, oh, so it's not just like something that they say on the website. You know, now here's like
we're building like from
building
a branding
network.
a network from a branding perspective is like giving the brand a personality.
Yeah, more or less.
Or somebody look at all these things that are done around the brand, and then you get a really good understanding of what the brand is about without even people like me and you having to explain that to a person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the fun part, because like, then we're going off the same Zanzi thing, yeah? So then this person jumps on, you know, YouTube, gets, you know, a Zanzi Cast episode in front of them. They're like, oh, these guys are talking about helping people to, you know, realize their potential and build their own business and this and that and what they should do there. And then they're like, I wonder if they really mean it when they say, you know, we will help anybody. You feel me? So it's like, what's the Instagram? Jump on Instagram. Boom, shoot your DM. And then they will be surprised, like they get a response and be like, oh shit, they answered.
They actually about that,
Exactly.
they're about that life.
And a lot of businesses are doing this.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's why when you go on certain websites, you see that little messenger button.
Yeah, of course.
You know? Click on that, you are actually talking to somebody who is involved in business.
Yes, most of the times in real time.
Most of the times. I mean, like a lot of them are connected to bots. But most of the times, especially if it's like a company with under 10 employees, you are going to talk to a real person.
That is very true.
And so you get that engagement from an actual human being. And the difference between a human being and having a chatbot is that there's empathy involved when it comes to a human being.
Yes.
And the willingness of a person to go the extra mile that a robot can't, for example.
Yeah, the ability too.
Yeah. And so all of these things play back into like the social climate. People are becoming more and more disconnected by the day because of technology.
Yes.
And they want engagement from real people.
Yeah.
You know? And the same technology, ironically, that's disconnecting us is actually bringing us closer.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the
So
day,
it's a paradox.
at the end is how we use it.
Exactly.
But what you say there struck a chord with me, because you see, for a lot of brands, especially the big legacy brands, they've
Nikes, Adidas.
they have grown so big to the point where like that human element or that
It's
human
gone.
aspect is gone.
You're a dollar bill for them.
Yeah. So in terms of what customers want, I think the emergence of new smaller brands that are coming up every day,
It's services
kind of
that-
it's kind of a validation to that point that people are yearning for something different, something more personal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they want to have a connection with something that they actually give a shit about.
Yeah.
So
I
for
mean,
example, if you like Zanze, you like it because first of all, it helps you really embrace yourself. It makes stuff that helps you embrace yourself. And if you're a kind of person who likes to stand out and be able to express, you'll get all these things in the same place. So it really makes sense. It really, really does make sense.
It hurts to know they don't care about me, bro.
It's all right. It's all right.
I ain't
Pick
gonna,
another one.
I ain't gonna say no names.
Sanze does.
I ain't gonna say no names.
He does.
Hey,
Just saying.
but also real shit. Like, listen, bro. Like, move this thing into the light. But hey, listen. You see this thing here?
Yeah, it's a nice-
This thing is stuff hard,
Yeah,
bro.
it's
This
a
thing is hard, bro.
It's a nice
I'm
check.
like,
Yeah, it's your new patch.
bro, this is nice.
And this
I
is the
swear.
first edition, bro. It's just gonna get better
I
and
said,
better.
bro, this thing is nice. But I need me one of these. I
Yeah, we
swear.
don't even worry about it.
I need.
Don't even worry about it.
Bro, I already got plans, my guy.
I'm just saying, like, I think also one of the things, I don't know if we talked about it, or maybe we talked about it, but we didn't really like go into detail about it. The generation of people, the last two generations, the disease and the millennials.
Yeah.
We've grown up so individualistic. We've grown up so. I mean, let me just put it this way: because of the fact that we've grown up so individualistic, it also has helped us try and express just a bit more than people back in the day. So it's like with that expression comes the need to, I need to do this myself. I need to be able to do that, and I have this and this goals, and I know how I can reach them. And then you have all the tools around. It makes it so easy for you to start businesses. Might that be one of the reasons why a bunch of new brands are coming up and a bunch of entrepreneurs are getting their shine?
It could be, but I'll go back to my original assessment and just say that a lot of people just realize that we're fucked. You can't be lazy no more. Like, I mean, your mom or your dad growing up, I mean, like, adult
Yeah.
in the 60s and 70s could just basically go to their regular fucking 9 to 5, not have to worry about shit, buy a house, raise the kids, buy a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of these things without breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
Without having to push for anything. So like for all the shit that boomers talk about, like generation, like, you know, Gen Z and millennials.
Yeah.
Boomers was lazy blood. No, I'm telling you.
No, but like, I don't disagree, you know.
Boomers was lazy. You know why? They had everything served blood. Yeah? They never need to fight for nothing. Of course, you have the outliers, of course, that built up a fortune and all that kind of thing. And they could do it because it was there to be done.
And the competition was very minimal.
Exactly.
It's very difficult to do that
Gen
now.
Z and freaking millennials is a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Like every day is going to war, blood. You know?
It's rough out here, bro.
Every day is going to war. And then you look at like the alternative. What's the alternative? There's no alternative. If I'm being honest. I mean, sure, you could sit in your little cubicle until you turn 65, but then you're almost guaranteed to not have a pension, you know? And you almost guaranteed to probably because like if you look at how things are now, with the advent of more, like, it's not a coincidence that mental illness is on the rise. You feel me? The added pressure. Imagine never being able to actually really truly relax. Imagine never being able to actually take a proper vacation. That's what Gen Z and fucking millennials are living with.
Yeah, because I think we were born into a lot of expectation.
It's not just being born into expectation, but then you have a lot of, I wouldn't say responsibility, burden thrust up on you.
Very true. Very
Yeah?
true. Very true.
Because we're looking at and I said this but this was off camera. We're actually just like seeing entropy at work. It's just the tendency of ordered systems to go from highly ordered state to highly disordered state.
Yeah.
That's what's happening now. Yeah? As the years go by, opportunities become less.
Yeah.
The
Competition
pressures-
gets tighter.
Exactly. Yeah. All of these things are just, in my opinion, a process of entropy. Yeah?
You're not wrong.
And so you find yourself in a position where the sacrifices have to be made. You know what I mean? You are making the sacrifices, you're doing all these things, and it's not because you necessarily want to. You just don't have the luxury of just being like, nah, I'm cool. You know? So all of these things are just playing out the way they're playing out. And a lot of people have realized that the systems that were in place previously no longer are. Or even if they are breaking down. They have lost their social value. The safety of having, let's say, for example, a pension to look forward to. The safety of knowing that, you know what, I had a good job, or I have a good job of making enough money, so I saved X amount of money every month. So, you know, if for whatever reason I don't have a job tomorrow, like, I'm good for a year or two.
Yeah, I'm straight.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most people nowadays don't have that. Like, majority of Gen Z and millennials don't have that.
That is so true, bro.
And then you have to start
I'm
thinking.
living through that shit, bro.
No, but then you have to start thinking, like, how am I going to get by? Like, I cannot, because I think this is the second time I'm saying this on Zanzicast. The definition of madness. They say it's Einstein that said it, you know. But the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And so most people realize that, blood, I've been going to work the same damn job every day for 10 years. And I have the same amount of money in my account every month. You know, which is zero after I pay all the bills.
It's like you're going to work just so you can be broke. You know, just so you can hit that place where you don't have any more expenses, but then you have nothing left.
Exactly, but that's what
That's
it is.
the thing about it.
It is survival.
It is such a it's just a grim picture. It's such a, for me, it's menacing. I don't know how people can wake up day in, day out and just decide that that's what they want to do for the rest of their life. That shit is depressing, fam.
But on a tangent, this is the problem with a lot of new businesses, and this is why, like I said, there are so many things that goes into actually making it successful. Like, it's the engagement, it's the quality of your product, and all of these things. Most people will take the last little dime with no real plan, because at the end of the day, it is still a business. You have to plan, you have to be fiscally responsible, you have to know the laws surrounding your taxes, and all of these things are still things that need to be done. And there are a lot of people who will take their last little money, they go and take a loan and all that kind of shit. I had this brilliant idea, I'm gonna start a business. Without understanding that, here's the thing. If I fuck up, I'm fucked.
I'm flat on my ass.
And it's not before they get into that situation where there's like, oh fuck.
So
You know?
usually it's you playing the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Today it's going to be me playing the devil's advocate.
Okay.
On that, I'll say that for every entrepreneur out there, everyone has experienced that. You need to go through that. You need to go through that, because, like, you learn everything. Any entrepreneur in 2023 or in the last 10 years, you learn so much from fucking up than you learn from actually doing the right thing. So it's like, if you were to spend that money, take that loan, do this and do that, and you go at a loss, the next time you are smarter.
Yeah, Harvard don't teach you none of this shit.
Yeah, no, they don't teach that part of entrepreneurship.
Harvard don't teach you none of
Because,
that shit,
like,
bro.
what you have on paper and the reality of things is worlds apart. It's two different things.
But that's it. Like, everything that you know theoretically, yeah?
So it's like you tighten things up. Like, for Zanza, we got really lucky because we got it in the right time where you could connect that to a company that does that. You don't need to have inventory, so you only get it done when it's paid for and everything like that. So the overhead was all the way down. You didn't have to take any big loans. Now, so many people do their research enough to be able to get to that point where we're like, oh, this is a viable solution. I should probably go with this because this will mean that I throw less money into the dump.
But sometimes,
It's a progression. Like, you become smarter every day when you make a bunch of mistakes. Like, and then you learn from this. Because if you don't make mistakes, that's the thing about it. There's no way around this. If you don't
You
make
have to
mistakes,
learn.
you will not learn. And if you don't learn, then you cannot act better, and that is a problem.
Your
So
mistakes are
lose your money, man. If you can't,
you
then
pay to learn.
truthfully, the most important thing is that you get started. Because once you do that, your mind starts opening up. It starts opening up. It starts opening up.
And here's another thing that, like, as we're talking, it popped into my head that I feel like, and hopefully, like, people understand what I mean when I say this. Yeah. I feel like when you go into business, you have to see the entire world as your enemy. I'll explain.
Please do.
I think it's General Patton, World War II general, yeah? I could be wrong, so correct me in the comments if it's actually somebody else who says. Man said, every plan's a good plan, but no plan survives contact with the enemy. Yeah? So it's all good and well when you're looking at it, you're thinking about it, and like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, it's gonna work out like this, it's gonna blah, blah. All of it is good until you actually go to fucking work.
Up until you start implementing and
Yeah.
you realize how heavy that shit
When you
can
go
be.
to work, all the things that you thought you fuck, and this is why I say you need to look at the entire world as your enemy. Because, like, there are pitfalls. There are so many pitfalls. And some of the times, like, you go into things thinking like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, it's gonna work out, it's gonna be a dance of roses, yeah? The problem is, like, and a lot of small businesses will encounter this. Even if it felt like that in the beginning, when shit starts hitting the fan, let's say, for example, the taxman don't care, the taxman's not your friend. You know what I mean?
That's not your boy.
He don't care, you should have known. You feel me? That's what he's gonna tell you. Your supply is the same thing. Fuck up on your order and you're like, listen, I don't want this. It's like, well, you're gonna pay me, read the fine print. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So it's these kinds of things that you have to expect, like the pitfalls, and you can't just be dancing on roses thinking like everything's gonna work out the way I thought about it just because I thought about it. So when I say like you have to approach the world as your enemy, you have to take your plan and look at every single thing that you can imagine that could go wrong.
Yeah.
And still be prepared for the things that you couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
So there's the known knowns,
And then I know.
the known unknown, and the unknown unknown.
And you still gotta be mentally ready for that.
You have to be mentally, it's called mental plasticity.
I tell you what.
You have to have that shit, bro.
You know what's crazy that you say that, because
And testicular fortitude.
testicular fortitude, yeah, that's
You
a
will
word.
need that.
That's a word. But like, I've been there, bro. You know, sometimes like in the life of an entrepreneur, it's like this, and then it's like this, sometimes like this, and then sometimes back here. It's just like, I was thinking about this today, and I was like, this shit's hard.
It hit you today.
You know what I'm like in my mind, I'm like,
This man's almost 2 years in, and it hit you today.
it hit me. Let me tell you, it hit me today because like my experience is so different from. I'm sure I share the same experience with a bunch of other people there, but like I think I have a very unique perspective on just life. I grew up with a single dad, for example.
It's your sunny disposition.
You know what I'm saying? I grew up with a single father and 4 kids, and then he adopted another 7. So it means that we had to split everything. Money around the house was tight. I learned from a very early age that I gotta earn shit. Nothing is given to me. I have to do. I learned that from a very young age. So it's like, if something is not going right, it probably has something to do with my performance. And it could be something else, but I always reflect it back on me. And that's why it's like, if we do a photo shoot or whatever, it's all, when I look at the pictures, videos or whatever, creatives that we have for Facebook ads, and somebody else is excited about that. And me, I'm more critical than I am happy about it. And the reason for that is just like, I know I'm one mistake away from a collection not doing what I thought it would do or think it would do. And then now I am minus a bunch of fucking thousands. What do you think?
Side note. You know, I kind of finally figured out why like we ain't getting a lot of views on the videos. You can't really do not much about me, guy. It's me. You can't fix this.
No, you're straight though. Still, I'm just saying, like, with my upbringing and the hardships and the good things, like I found a lot of positive lessons going through hard times, and they build character.
It does.
And this, like, back then when I was young and it seemed a bit tough, I didn't know what I was preparing me for. But when I got through stuff like this, when there's like waiting periods in the middle, something doesn't work out right or whatever, like, you have just a little extra headspace to think and try to figure out where the problem is, because somebody else will have, like, this is not working out, I'm just gonna drop this. Then it comes in handy, and they're connected in every kind of way.
It is.
It doesn't. I'm not bothered quite as much.
A lot of your success in the end comes down to your disposition and your ability to deal with setbacks. Your resilience is going to be tested.
Yeah.
It is just a fact. Yeah.
It is the truth.
And if we go back to customers just a little bit when it comes to the emergence of, like, you know, new brands and especially like in the clothing space, is that sometimes it's the customers that keep a lot of these small brands alive. And when I say that, I mean in terms of the customers' engagement, their ability to go, like, for example, you might have had days that you feel like, you know, fuck this, like, shit's just like, and you will go on your Instagram, somebody's following your Instagram, and they'll make a comment on one of the shirts that you post. Oh, this is a nice t-shirt. You know what I mean? Or that's a nice hoodie or whatever not. And
Yeah, it keeps you going.
it keeps you going, it gives you that little push, and I think that's what keeps a lot of small businesses afloat, because sometimes, like, I've seen this one cartoon, which is funny. It's like, it shows you a guy that's digging in a tunnel, and he's just like one fucking, like, stroke of the pick away from striking gold.
Yeah.
And he turns back.
It gets tough, yeah.
And a lot of the times, it's like, I think there are a lot of these small businesses that eventually turn out to be success. I think a lot of them, like the owners or the people behind them, got to that, like, you know, just that space. Should I strike this fucking pick one more time?
They don't.
You know? A lot of people walk away at that point. They were just that close to becoming something.
It gets difficult, bro, because...
And customers and the ability of customers to engage with a brand in real time are what keep a lot of businesses afloat. It makes a lot of businesses go on to become a success.
Yes.
And my guy, with that being said,
Hey, it was nice hanging out with you guys. I hope you got some value out of this, and I hope to catch you next week.
yeah, we'll see about that. No? Hey, we out.
All right, take it easy.
All right.